by what I said. And I'm not. This is not a joke. You really can't make up outrageous jokes about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. You really can't. I can't. Because when you think it's far out and bizarre and the timing is bad at best, he's going to do it. I said, what you want, what you desperately need is a documentary, a Netflix documentary, because they won the bidding war, which is a story all by itself, on Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. And the owner needs to be paid $50 million for the story about him and the Dallas Cowboys. Forget the show HBO Hard Knocks, which I believe is the Jets, which was kind of a no-brainer, as if there was going to be someone else, like everything else this year. I mean, look, when it comes to sort of chum in the water in terms of public interest, this year's pretty easy. Aaron Rodgers, Jerry Jones. There you go. That's the only formula you really need. You can trust both of them are going to do something pretty stupid that is going to move the needle. So this is not Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is the really well-done HBO show that's going to follow a team behind the scenes, that kind of stuff. And it's pretty true. Coming from someone who's been fired multiple times in pro football, they do a really good job of showing you what it's like behind the scenes when you get fired. Jerry's team, though, I think you would agree, really needs a documentary on the good old days. You know, the times when they actually won some stuff. Now, we can debate. I think we can debate this because I could see a variety of opinions. So we can debate how interested people are in the story of Jerry Jones. Because remember, you cannot remove him from this. He's the star of the show from the way it's described. But we can debate how marketable and the level of interest there will be with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys and their good days. His good days. Need to qualify that too. I can tell you why I think it's mostly a really bad idea. I can go down a list of why I think it's mostly a really bad idea. It's not going to matter. I think it's going to be done no matter what. I'll say this for Jerry Jones, and he doesn't back away from this. He has a price for everything. He'll put a price on anything. And that includes his reputation. Make fun of me all you want. Laugh in my face all you want. Put a price on it, and you can laugh at me all you would like. The Jerry Jones P.T. Barnum view on life is this. Say what you want about me. Make fun of me all you want, but pay me to do it. Right? The P.T. Barnum thing that people use all the time, which I think is completely bogus and a really bad idea to operate business, and that as long as they're saying my name. That's not true with Jerry. Jerry's view is, as long as they're saying my name and you pay me for it, it's cool. That's what we've got. The price is $50 million, and Netflix is the winner, and that's probably a good thing. The next question is going to be, the next few questions would be, do you want this? And how interesting and compelling it can be. So, there is recent history. I think they have figured out what to do. The same producers that did O.J. Made in America, the documentary. And think about this. You know, when they, at least so far, when they sink their teeth into a high-profile, controversial, American sort of sports story, it becomes popular. It reintroduces the topic to an entire new generation. That's how powerful these last few documentaries have been. So that's their thinking. At least I assume that's their thinking. So the O.J. story and the trial, once the documentaries, I think there was a couple, but really powerful documentaries, made it relevant to those under the age of 40. A whole new generation of people all of a sudden discovered what a messed up trial that was, what a messed up case that was, and oh my gosh, look at that car chase. Right? It's just incredibly powerful. The Last Dance documentary did the exact same thing. It reintroduced or introduced a controversial, compelling story. The Chicago Bulls, during their great run with Michael Jordan, that was called The Last Dance. And that was a documentary. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now. If not, you probably ought to check it out. It's really compelling. It's really well done. You can't get away from it. It's about the 90s Chicago Bulls, and they made Michael Jordan, who, a whole generation knows his shoes and his stuff. This made Michael Jordan relevant to a generation under the age of 45. It really did. I mean, it's now these documentaries, you can sit down in a coffee shop or a bar, and someone who's 35 can talk to you about the O.J. case and trial, just like someone who's 55 or 65. Same thing with Michael Jordan. You can talk about how crazy and what celebrity was like and what a great player he was with somebody of any age. It's that these documentaries are that powerful. So when Netflix throws this kind of money at something, they're not kidding around. So you're not going to get, wow, Jerry's a really sharp guy who's made a lot of money. You're going to get the full-on train wreck that has been the Dallas Cowboys, because that's what people want to watch. I mean, it's sort of like doing Springer over 3 hours or 3 days. So we're about to find out. So here comes Netflix with Jerry Jones, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and they're all going to be front and center. Now, we can debate the timing, which I will say I think is typical Jerry Jones. Completely tone deaf to common sense and completely absorbed with, look at me. He is the Kardashian of the owners. That's what he is. There is never a moment, even when I'm going to argue it really hurts the franchise. The timing of this, I think, hurts the franchise. The timing of this completely will upstage his team this season. I think it's a terribly tone-deaf move to make right now, but he doesn't care. He's getting paid, and you're going to be talking about him. And a whole generation of people that didn't know Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones drama, they're going to know it now. And they're going to laugh at the old man, but he doesn't care. So here's what's reported now. Netflix secured the rights to a 10-episode docu-series on the Dallas Cowboys team owner Jerry Jones. He's front and center. He is the Cowboys. That's what people know, and that's what you're really going to know once this thing is done. It's about team owner Jerry Jones and his 1990s Cowboys. Netflix reportedly bid of nearly $50 million, appears to be the leader in the clubhouse, exceeding that of ESPN and 3 others. Guess Jerry's been out selling. Hey, anybody want to do a show about what a screw-up I am? It'll be about the Super Bowl victories of 92, 93, and 95. It's not going to be about that. Okay, I can tell you right now, it's not just going to be about that. It's going to be about the drama, because you wouldn't watch if it was just a highlight reel film of how really good they were in the offensive line or something. It's not that at all. We know what it is. It's drama, and there's plenty of it, and he likes it. The series will specifically look at how the Cowboys have risen to truly embody their America's team moniker, and it will feature unseen interviews with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. Okay, so, it's a great run, no doubt about it. So what's wrong with this, other than I don't think people want to see and hear more of Jerry Jones? That I do think is a slight problem here, so I think Netflix is going to have to work pretty hard to drum up even more drama. I just don't put Jerry Jones in the category of O.J. Simpson and Michael Jordan. I don't think he's all that interesting, so they're going to work hard to make him interesting, and that's going to mean making him a joke or just bizarre. Let's put it that way. So, there's overexposed celebrities, and then there's Jerry Jones. Like, no one is overexposed to the level of Jerry Jones. There's not an owner on the planet even close. I mean, we'd have to work really hard to find one ever in the history of sports. It would have been George Steinbrenner. That would have been it. But I'm not sure George Steinbrenner got the publicity as the owner of the Yankees, who would routinely fight with his manager and his players. I mean, fight with them. I don't think he was caught just in celebrity. Jerry is full-on celebrity. So that's why I call him the Kardashian of owners. Of all sports owners, no one's even close. Here's why I think this is wrong. And I don't have a problem with the entertainment value of this, because I do think there's plenty of entertainment value. A lot of us know all the stories, so I don't know how new it is for us, but there's a generation that doesn't know it. And that's part of the genius of these docuseries that Netflix does. But what's wrong with this? Number one, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys of that 92 to 95 run, one of those years was coached by Barry Switzer, by the way, which is probably a pretty interesting segment by itself, who I know. But that period of the Dallas Cowboys did not create America's team, the moniker. That's not true. I mean, I don't even think people quite understand how that came about. But it wasn't the 1990s in which Dallas started becoming America's team. No, that started in the 70s. And if I'm not mistaken, it started with John Facenda, this very famous narrator of NFL films. And I don't even know if he said it in the video or implied it in one of the highlight reels about the Cowboys of 1977, 78, somewhere in there. So it was about those teams of 77, 78. Remember, they held a record for the most 10-win seasons. It was a dynasty long before that nice little run during the mid-90s. It was one of the three best franchises in all of sports from the 70s through the 80s. They were called America's team then, largely because they were so popular and largely because their quarterback was kind of Captain America from the Navy, Roger Staubach. So this idea that Jerry Jones had something to do with America's team is not true. It's not true at all. It sort of came about by accident. So that's just that. Netflix is already trying to sell that. That's not accurate. Now, they are the most popular franchise. They're the most valuable sports franchise in the world, and it's not even close. All that is true. If you look at ratings over time, Dallas is going to outdraw anybody else. They do move the needle better than any sports franchise probably in the world. But that 95, 93 run is not when they were called America's team. So that I have a problem with that part, is the implication that's what this is all about. So there's no way this started with, by the way, with Jimmy Johnson and Dallas in the 90s. It didn't. Number two, when this thing airs, think about this. When this thing airs, guess what people are not going to be talking about? Oh, it's going to work. It's going to generate buzz. It'll be fascinating. It'll be compelling. It'll be controversial. It'll be sketchy. But you know what people are not going to be talking about? The 2023 Dallas Cowboys. Now you're going to say, well, who cares? Well, I'm going to say I think it's a bad move if I own the team, because I'm still arguing that this is the best Dallas team since the time of the documentary. This is the best Dallas defense since the time of the documentary. Dallas is the second best team, in my opinion, second best team in the NFC. For the old man, you know what this is? In my opinion, this is their best chance to win. And what are we going to be talking about? What a jackass he was in 1996. His obsession with celebrity, his obsession with talk about me, look at me, is absolutely getting in the way of his franchise's best chance right now, I think. Now, you may not think that matters. Okay, I'm just saying that if you're Jerry Jones, who I do believe, I will always defend him in this way, the guy wants to win. He will give anything, spend anything. He needs to hold a trophy again. And he's done a good job putting together this team this year that is going to be obliterated by this Netflix documentary. So I think it's bad. I mean, I think it's just a bad move. I think the timing is bad. I don't know when exactly they're going to put it out there, but it's going to get in the way. I mean, the most popular time to do it would be during football season. And I do think it's going to get in the way of his best team since the 90s. And I think that's kind of unfortunate. It's good for my business, but I think it's unfortunate for the franchise, and I thought it'd be unfortunate for him. I mean, this is his best chance. It's the most complete roster he has had since the 90s. But he lives by that Trump rule, that Donald Trump rule. Just talk about me. That's it. I mean, just feed my ego by talking about me. Now, I could argue the good news is the two people who I think like the fact that this team is not going to be talked about as much now, I believe that would be the head coach mumbling Mike McCarthy, and I believe that would be Dak Prescott. I bet those are two people that welcome a controversial Netflix documentary to take the focus off of, them. So I could see where mumbling Mike would say, this is awesome. Now I'm not going to look like the dumbass that I am. Dak Prescott is saying, now I'm not going to get blamed for every single thing that happens. So that's my second takeaway on this. Well, I think it's kind of a bad idea. Again, you can disagree with any of these. And then, the controversy, I mean, all the conversation is going to be about the success and the drama of the 90s. And most of the documentary, I think it's pretty clear, is going to be about Jerry Jones. I mean, he bought the team in a controversial way. He fired, in my opinion, the most innovative football mind the game has ever known, and that is Tom Landry. And I can back it up why I think he's the most innovative. Now, Dallas sucked at the time. So you can make a pretty good argument they won one game when Jerry Jones bought the team. But even that didn't go well. Even that he was tone deaf to. So it's just going to be start to finish of drama to the point of firing Jimmy Johnson and hiring, or Jimmy Johnson, quote, quitting, and then hiring Barry Switzer. All that stuff is going to be the focus. To me, it's not a new story. I mean, a lot of us know this, but I guess the success of these docuseries are a whole new generation is introduced to sports drama that they find really cool. And so I guess if you're a producer and somebody's setting you out and said, listen, we may never find anything as compelling as the O.J. trial, and we may never find somebody as controversial as the Bulls and Michael Jordan, but this Jerry's a close third, is he not? So I do think it works really well. In fact, I can almost see it coming. A whole generation of people are now going to want to talk about some of the stuff that went on then. That's how powerful these things are. For the rest of us, we're going to look at it and go, yeah, they had a really good run there. And then the old man screwed it all up. Never to be heard from again. So we all know the story. We know the players involved. We know how good they were. We know how many Hall of Famers were there. And we also know the constant drumbeat of drama with Jerry, which is what this thing is really going to be about.